then he says, "Keep the turkey. I'm taking the stuffing." Hi everyone.
What?
This is Super Kelly Brothers. We're talking about Rebel Moon, the spoiler review. My name's Sloan Kelly.
My name's Jody Kelly.
And welcome. We're talking Rebel Moon. If you have not watched the movie, do not watch any further because we will probably spoil it from the first second that we're talking about this. So we're warning you now. Turn off the stream if you have not seen Rebel Moon.
We've told you once.
So there's a little thing there, spoiler review. So just to let you know, we're going to spoil
watch it
the movie
first,
for you.
then watch the movie. Sorry,
watch first.
Watch the movie first.
Watch the movie first.
Right, wait a minute. I'll start again. It was Christmas yesterday, so Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas
as well. Yeah. So Zack Snyder gave us this for Christmas. Wasn't that kind of him?
Yay! I mean, it was Netflix that gave it to us.
Yeah, I've got a feeling this is going to be a bit of a discussion, as well as
yes.
I think
as a review. Yeah,
I think we totally agree on how we felt about it.
Some of the things.
In the main, I think we did. But
should we describe briefly the movie?
Go for it.
For the boys and girls. So, Zack Snyder's new movie, Rebel Moon, is set in a galaxy far, far away, where a simple farmer enlists the help of a war-weary general to track down rebels to stop a rogue senator's planet-destroying weapon from wreaking havoc in the galaxy.
Sounds familiar.
And that's my problem with the movie. No.
I actually think, remember, Battle Beyond the Stars? You know, with the little Walton lad.
Okay, so Anna Marie said, "This is just Battle Beyond the Stars." That was her. That was her take. She was halfway through the movie, and she said that this is Battle Beyond the Stars with John Boy Walton,
which was a sort of jumping in the coattails of Star Wars at the time, whereas this says that it is directly jumping on the coattails of Star Wars. And was pitched as a Star Wars movie, but it falls short of being that, and it's more like a retelling of Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yes, and so there's a couple of things about this. So it was pitched to Disney Star Wars, and they turned it down, and then he reworked it.
Whoa, by the way.
How bad is it going to be if Disney's turning this down? He then reworked it and repitched it, and they still turned it down. So that goes to show the pedigree of this thing. And so essentially, it's for me anyway. It was Star Wars meets Seven Samurai or The Magnificent Seven, whichever one you're more familiar with.
Yeah.
Very similar plot line, and it starts off quite similar to Star Wars. The only difference is that Sir Anthony Hopkins. Does the crawl at the start, whereas it does a voiceover.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to go through it. We're not going to do a watch along, but we're going to do a sort of scene by scene, sort of in sequence, sort of talking points. I just want to say though, I think Anthony Hopkins' robot character is possibly the most interesting.
Jimmy the Robot.
Jimmy the Robot. I mean,
Jimmy the Robot.
Did they take to come up with that? Jimmy the Robot. We'll just call him Jimmy just now.
It's stuck.
Jimmy the Robot. Wow.
Jimmy the Robot is the most underused robot character because he disappears 30 minutes into the movie and then doesn't reappear until the very end.
But remember, this is part one of two-part.
Yes.
Right.
Anyway, I actually did a wee before we start. We'll do the Shakespearean thing where we set the cast of characters. Did you know any of the names? By the way, I had to look the names up because the only name I knew is Kora, because she's the protagonist played by Sofia Boutella.
Charlie Hunnam. He was in Sons of Anarchy.
What was his character's name?
Oh, the character's name.
Did you know any of the characters' names?
No, I don't pay it. Sloan, I don't know that in Star Wars, so that I wouldn't ask me that question. I'm the world's worst person to pick up the characters' names. So, no.
I picked up on Nemesis. Nemesis is the witchy looking woman with the swords.
Right.
She's Nemesis. Gunnar is the farmer, the Luke Skywalker guy, the sort of wide-eyed farm boy guy. Atticus Noble is the Darth Vader character, who's played by, and this is the thing that took me out of the movie the most. It's Francis from Deadpool.
I know.
And that's all I could think of was this is Francis from Deadpool.
Well, I'd actually say that's your problem because, I think he was probably one of the best parts about the film. He's a very good buddy.
Yeah, I don't want to weight shame anyone, but he needs a couple of sandwiches.
He's pretty skinny. Yeah.
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah, but he could say a few things about us, I think. So
that's true. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying I don't want to weight shame people.
A few less Christmas dinners for us.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he was a good baddie. Come on.
He was generic space Nazi.
Somebody said
he had the costume as well.
I saw a review of this, and somebody said instead of Star Wars having space Nazis, this has just Nazis. Nazis. He's got the peaked cap and everything. Yeah.
The other thing as well, and we'll get to in just a sec because it goes through sort of various scenes, but all right, let's just go through the scenes.
Go through the characters.
So,
go through all the characters there.
So there was Nemesis, then it was the Belisarius, who's the Darth Sidious Palpatine guy. He's actually an evil senator.
Yep.
Who's from Northern Ireland, which again was a little bit of a shock to me because I'm like, that was a bit weird. And then the other guy, General Titus, who was in it, blink and you miss him. Djimon Hounsou. Okay.
Right. Okay.
That's it. That's the characters.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a prince as well, but I can't remember what he was called. I to be honest, I called him John Carter through the entire thing.
Oh, him, yeah, that rode the lizard.
I see, exactly. It wasn't even a lizard, Jody. It was a big crow.
That. So it was. Anyway.
And I was the one that wasn't paying attention in this movie.
Right, let's go through that. That was one of my issues actually about the character, the design.
Do you know what my issue was?
Of things.
My big issue with this thing. Zack Snyder was my big issue with this thing.
Oh God,
Jody, the slow-mo thing, it really has to stop.
Oh,
that movie would be an hour and a half if it didn't have slow-mo.
Right, okay. This was my fear that you would just go on about the wee semantic things. Right, okay.
How's it? It was annoying.
It does it in every film. It does it in every film. That's his style. That's his style.
I know it
does
is.
It in every film.
He needs to stop.
So he's not going to stop. Right. So let's do this. No, that's more like the sloth from Zootopia you're doing there.
Hey, exactly. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
That's you're making my point for me, Jody.
Okay.
You're making my point. Making my point.
Right.
Opening crawl. So it starts off with the ship coming out of a rip in space.
Well, what you said was a space female genitals.
Majin.
Yeah.
to quote, what's his face from Pixels? Very Dune-like because they have that kind of like tearing space thing, and then they go through the tunnel thing, and then it goes through to the next thing. So that was kind of Dune-like.
They also have that in Marvel's the Avengers.
Yeah, and then Sark's carrier comes through the tearing space. And that's the dreadnought, which is like the King's Vengeance or something it's called, or King's Gaze, something like that.
It's effectively a Death Star destroyer, isn't it?
It's literally got a big gun up on top, which looks like the crappiest gun ever. It just looks awful. The whole look of that ship just doesn't look great at all.
I would like to say visually, I think the movie looks great, but the design of the ships, the design of the monsters, and the design of
boring.
The characters were very. I don't want to say boring, but very uninspiring. I would say
very, very uninspiring. Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
I mean, it's like metal plate. There's no greeblies or anything on the ship. The weird thing was on the inside of the ship when you go into Atticus's cabin and he does his tentacled lover.
that was
But
interesting.
that bit was interesting because it was basically it's like the inside of a submarine where it's like this might be the commander's quarters, but it's still it's still a ship of war. It's still going to be utilitarian. So there was like pipes everywhere, and there was like bits sticking out, and
I don't mean
that was
that.
interesting. And then the outside was just this kind of bland kind of
I mean, I don't mind that there's not like it's not like clean or whatever, or I don't know. It seemed a bit forced. It seemed a bit sort of, pardon the pun. It just seemed a bit,
if you pardon the pun,
like it seemed like a studio or a pantom or
yes,
or a wee guy trying to make a sci-fi film instead of
yeah.
somebody that knew what they were. I don't know.
I didn't.
I didn't buy it.
That's the thing I didn't get was the epicness of it all. Like everyone kept on talking, it's an epic space adventure and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really get epic. I got a lot of sound stages and green screen. That's what it felt like to me. There was a lot of like the opening. We'll get to the opening shot. So the opening shot is the ship coming out of the rip in space.
We're going to be here forever if we keep talking about that.
I know. Anthony Hopkins read the script and he basically tells the entire story of the back thing. So basically, there's this evil senator. He seized control after the king and the family was mysteriously killed, obviously by the evil senator, but they don't mention that in the crawl. And then it ends with it like this pan down, very Star Warsy pan down onto a planet, and it's got that. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the red planet behind the cast of characters at the top there. Pans down there, and you see Kora ploughing the field,
which looked like the opening of a play or something.
It looked like a cartoon. It looked like the animatics that Wes Anderson uses.
An animatic,
It looked like that. I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
like it was the crappiest entry to a movie ever. It just
I know that people are going to watch this, but I don't want to kind of go, oh, everything's crap, but we will get to a good bit soon. Hold on. I think.
Well, we will get to the good bit soon because we get to the village, and this is the bit where this is the bit that has life in the movie. You see them; they're obviously they're excited about the up and coming harvest, and he's like, the ground gives, and so maybe we should.
I'd say the first 30. Yeah, I'd say the first 30, 40 minutes were good. I think they were properly good. I think.
Yes. And
I definitely think so.
I like
the best part of the movie, the first 40 minutes.
I liked Corey Stoll's character. He was the sort of obviously the reason why he was chosen. It was fairly obvious why he was chosen to lead everybody because he just exuded this guy in charge.
Yep.
And he did a really good job of that. He says, maybe you should go and, sow some other seeds at one point.
Steady, Tiger. This is a PG.
To the townspeople. Talking of that, there's going to be there's two movies. There's the part 1 and part 2, and there's going to be 2 R-rated versions as well coming with that are, and that brings me to one point though, is the fact that it's kind of gory in bits. Like people get hit quite a lot in the face, no blood.
It's coming.
Like none. So anyway, so I got a kind of like Midsummer vibe from these guys, less creepy Midsummer vibe, obviously. They were just a bunch of Scandinavian farmers in a village.
Yeah.
And they were enjoying their life, reaping
the fields.
reaping. And they were, they weren't using machines, they were using, manual labor, and they were like going back to basics, that kind of thing. Basically, the universe could be on fire, but they don't care. As long as they get enough wheat for next year, they're all good. And it was a nice wee scene as well. They were all kind of happy.
However,
what
happened was
Captain Backstory appear
from nowhere, bursting through the clouds from the sky, obviously because the clouds are in the sky, and come down overly friendly, hugging.
I'm going to extend
hugging,
my hug to you,
which is
in the most awkward,
straight away creepy.
Go and give your auntie a kiss type hug.
Yes, and then we could work together. We could do this. All we need is a few. We're looking for these two. Those two
the brother and sister
saboteurs that were hidden somewhere.
Clan right on the nose rebel name.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was called, like Blood Claw or something. Clan.
Yeah, whatever it was, and we just need some supplies for our soldiers, and then
we'll be on our way.
That'll be fine. And the leader says he's not got enough, but big mouth, Luke Skywalker type character. Oh yeah, we do. We've got surplus supplies just in case,
If you want it, I know where you can get it, and there's lumps of it round the back.
Yeah, well, he ruins it for everybody by saying that, and the leader gets
the old club Tropicana
to the head, and quite a few times actually.
And, a couple of times, yeah.
He did.
Yeah, and then he's like, "You'll give me 12,000 bushels, and I want it a week on Tuesday." Yeah, he says, "I won't take no for an answer." So he's got like 10 weeks or something to come up with.
That's right.
Bushels, which is basically all their harvest.
True,
which is basically this is the entire story of A Bug's Life, which is also based on The Magnificent Seven.
So it's a remake of A Bug's Life. Is that what you're saying?
It's a remake of.
That's right. What are we talking about then? So then, obviously, he leaves some of his soldiers there.
I've just realised that A Bug's Life is Magnificent Seven.
There you go. Wow,
I didn't know.
So he went all blurry because of it.
I have.
So then he leaves some of his soldiers, who just happen to be a bunch of absolute Star Trooper-esque numbskulls that all they want to do is pillage and kiss the ladies against their will, if you get my drift. And so all hell breaks loose. They realise that they can't have this, and they kill the soldiers and decide they need to go on a mission to Alderaan.
No. But don't forget though. So basically, there's a bit before that where Sam, who's the one that the soldiers attack, she has a moment with Jimmy. And Jimmy reveals that ever since the king fell, because this is an important part. Ever since the king fell,
that was a good bit as well, actually. This whole bit was good. I think this whole bit.
Yeah, this bit, the bit in the village was great.
Yep.
And so she says to Jimmy, "Well, why don't you fight?" And he goes, "Well, it's not part of my programming anymore. As soon as the king died, that was it. We decided we're going to lead pacifist lives, and we're not going to shoot anybody."
Yep.
And so when she gets attacked, Jimmy appears. Picks up one of the guns and kills the main guy, who's the last one standing, and then immediately just runs off, and that's the last time you see him.
Yeah, but it won't be, because I think you see him sort of in the posters and stuff. You see him behind me there.
You see him there,
the antlers and stuff.
Yeah,
I think his story arc could be good if it's written. I think he could be a really interesting character. I was going to say if it's written well, but so far so bad.
Yeah.
Oh no, well,
his bit was okay. His bit was fine, and there does seem to be there's a bit. So all the soldiers and everything have all got kind of like crappy armor that's all like kind of ill fitting, and it's dusty and all that kind of stuff.
Actually,
and it was in the it kind of reminded me of the General Zod armor, but anyway. Which is fine because he did that movie as well.
He did actually.
But there's in the preview for the Scargiver, there's a clip of a couple of like soldiers, and they've got like brand new shiny armor. So that's obviously like a flashback to something else. But yeah, I think that you're going to see more of these robots in there as well.
There is a flashback. Yeah, that's right.
There's a lot of flashbacks.
The flashback of Kora's character as well, we get to see
Which one?
a couple of times. The first one when she's a little kid, sort of, and she's one of the soldiers. She gets captured, and she becomes a soldier.
It's basically the senator guy.
A bit like Thanos-ish with Gamora.
Yeah, and this is a bit that confused me for a couple of seconds, because I thought that the guy that was her dad was Atticus Noble, and because basically at that point in her life, that guy Belisarius, or whatever his name is, what's his name? Yeah, Belisarius, is Atticus Noble. He's like the most feared warrior of the galaxy.
Yeah,
and so it's the same archetype guy, and then that just confused me a little bit. I had to run it back and watch it again. I was like, all right, okay, it's a different guy. But he sort of takes her under his wing and sort of trains her up, and then eventually she becomes the most feared warrior in the galaxy.
Yeah, so we get all that in the first 30-40 minutes, don't we?
Yes,
that's the kind of setup, and then her and the farm dude, what's the guy's name?
Gunner,
is it?
Gunner, yeah.
He knows a guy, so she's like, take me to this guy, and they head off to Mos Eisley. To Mos Eisley, basically, to the cantina specifically.
Yes, and you'll never see such a hive of wretched scum and villainy in your life.
And I would say this is kind of when it starts to go a bit
sideways. At this point, if they hadn't met Charlie Hunnam, this movie wouldn't have happened. If they'd met anyone else, this movie wouldn't have happened. Should we spoil his story? I feel we need to spoil his story, because so they want to go to Pollux, which is where they think the rebels are stationed. They want to go there, and he suggests that instead of doing that, they need to go to this other planet, because he thinks that he's got a guy that can help them. And so they trust him, and they go to this planet with him, and they meet John Carter
with his griffin.
With his griffin, and so there's this guy who's trying to tame this griffin for reasons, and I feel like that was what all of this next part, the middle third of the movie, is basically all these fetch quests.
Yes, and I don't like it. I didn't like it. It felt like, oh god, right, all right, we're doing this again.
It's a video game. It's a video game
again.
Yeah.
It was like the same thing, but just slightly different.
But
it's like, I'll free you if you ride this griffin and train it. And
yeah, I was like, all right, okay then. So he goes and does it. A lot of slow mo. Eventually frees him because the griffin and he are one. Do
you know what I found? I did laugh though, because obviously this is spoiler heavy, but the owner of the griffin's like, oh, brilliant, it's been trained now, and it immediately kills him.
Kills him,
which was quite funny. I did think that was pretty funny.
I thought it was so obvious, and then the guy's like, "Good bird," or something at the end of it.
Yeah. I found that quite funny.
So anyway, so that was a success. So then Hunnam turns to Kai, whatever his name is, turns to Kora and says, well, if you're interested in that, how about another couple of people? And so he basically, like, instead of the mission is get to Pollux, and he's doing all these fetch quests.
Yeah.
So they go to the Cobalt mining planet, which is this massive planet full of like towers of stuff and all that kind of thing. And we zoom in and we go into a lift.
Yeah.
And there's a woman, the woman that looks like a witch, and they're talking about her and all that kind of stuff. And he talks to her, not Kora, and says, we're getting a band together to help fight the Imperium. Because this village has to get 12,000 bushels of corn or something. I don't know. Are you with us? And she goes like, hold on a minute, I need to kill a spider woman.
Yes.
And then, surprise, surprise, she kills the spider woman.
Yep. It's like
as it was prophesied.
Do you know what it's like? It's like, right, we've got this sequence.
Yes.
We'll just crowbar.
We need to get them here.
We'll just crowbar these sequences in, and this is how we'll pick up these,
yes.
the soldiers of fortune or whatever.
Do you know what's really funny though is, as they went through, they got lazier and lazier.
Yeah.
Because it was really involved with the taming of the thing, and it was like I didn't have to just tame them, we had to take them to flight school and all this kind of stuff, and then pat them in the back, and then get them an attaboy card, all that kind of stuff. The next one was the Spider Woman thing, where it was like, oh, kind of life and death. The next one is the general, and it's like, you want to come with us? And he's like, all right then.
Mm-hmm. But what I mean, it was like reminded me. Well, it didn't remind me of Revenge of the Sith, but it was so quick on convincing them to come with them for no.
It got ridiculously easy because so Kora goes to talk to. So this is they've even got the nemesis.
I've only seen this once, so
so have I.
If I'm wrong in that, the reasons that
they get the nemesis woman, and she's like, all right, I'll come and fight you. I'll come and fight with you. And so they're going like, all right, who's next? And Kai's like, there's one last guy we need to go and see. We need to go and see this general guy. So they're going to see the general guy, and Kora talks with him and basically says, if you're not going to do it for your men, do it for revenge. And he's like, all right then. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. I won't do it for the memory of my men. I'll do it for revenge.
Yeah. Let's
go, kids. But he has the worst beard in makeup history.
Yeah.
He does he shakes his head because he's angry, and he's obviously shaking his head a bit, and his beard looks like Dr. Zoidberg. It's awful. It's just the worst beard ever. And he's acting his socks off, and the script is terrible, and I feel really bad for him because he's a great actor, and he just did not get the words with which to say.
No.
A lot of people suffer through this script. It's pretty bad.
Do you not think as well?
Anthony Hopkins got all the $10 words, and everybody else got
he did
bargain bin stuff.
The farmer guy at this point, what the hell is he there for? As well.
Don't worry, Jody. He serves a purpose in just a minute. Don't worry about it. Because the big reveal comes. So they've got.
I missed this. I must have nodded off then at this point.
So, no, you move into the next page. Are we? 1 second. So we've just got Titus.
This was Sloane's Christmas writing all this down. This is how it's
I know. So then they go to the Gladiator planet. Okay, yeah. Right. After the Gladiator planet, do you remember the guy that they papped off in the big giant scorpion thing at the cantina?
Yeah.
He gets interrogated in the next scene after that.
Oh, yes.
They've done all these fetch quests, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, remember that guy from the cantina? We should probably talk to him.
Yep.
So they talk to him, and they find out that they're going to go to this Leviticus planet, which is the Conqueror thing. And then Atticus is like, all right, set a course for this. And then he gets this stupidly massive big gun, right? And then puts it in the base of the neck there, and then twists it around, and then kills him.
A big spike
while he's still in while he's still in the scorpion thing, and I'm going like, oh, that looks quite expensive.
Oh, that was fun. Do you know that was one of the laugh out loud? That was one of the laugh out loud special effects when he get picked up and he stood in this platform, and it turned into a sort of walking thing that was
the scorpion thing.
It was like that was funny.
I saw somebody mentioning it, and they said it reminded them of that bit in Beetlejuice where the sculptures came alive.
Oh man. Just the design,
terrible, just absolutely terrible.
Oof.
Like it's just not good. Anyway, so I wonder where that will come in. So they end up in Leviticus planet. Who's this? He looks a bit like the guy that goes Poodoo, the pod racer.
Yeah.
And what's his name?
Sebulba.
Sebulba, that's a guy. Looks a bit like him.
Thanks, guys.
So before they get to talk to him, which is hilarious, because I was like, "Are you kidding me?" They fly down on what looks like the worst CGI ever. It looks like a video game where they're going like, you know what, folk will never notice it if we just put like, if we just paint the background.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look like it was these floating skyscraper things that they fly by, the ships fly by as they go and see Leviticus.
I don't even remember this bit.
It's awful. It looks terrible. Honestly, it looks like somebody's painted rectangles on a sheet of matte paper and then said film that.
I've got a feeling James and I are going to watch this again over Christmas,
and you're probably going to like it more.
No.
So they meet with Levitica, but it's not Levitica. He says he's not Levitica, and then he says, "All right, okay, well, we don't need to. I'll tell him that you're in, kind of thing, but I'll need to arrange something later." Next scene, immediately they find the rebels.
Yep.
Like they almost go, "Oh, Levitica's not in. All right, okay, thanks very much. So, are you willing to deal with this?" And it's honestly, it's like that. It's like she walks over to the rebels, and the rebels are like, "We are not going to help you. This is the worst thing ever. This is a waste of resources. All right, we'll help you."
All right then, sign me up.
Let's put it to a vote. Half of them decide to go. All right, let's go to the ships.
For what reason? Reasons.
I don't know. No reasons. I want bushels. Probably. I don't know.
It's not. You do realize it's not about them getting seeds for their shrubbery, don't you? It's about getting rid of these.
Okay.
Just in case you missed that.
And here's the other thing this is the bit I don't understand is if the Imperials had not come down to this village, they would not have fomented the rebellion on that planet. So they are, in fact, their own worst enemies, the Imperium. I keep calling them Imperium, but they're not Imperium. But anyway, a king of kings is called an emperor, but let's not bother getting into that. Why is the empire or whatever they call themselves interested in a village?
Well,
in a galaxy of 1,000 stars.
Well, there's the nail in the head.
With a planet destroying weapon. Why don't you go, that village pissed me off. Boom, kadoosh.
That's the nail in the head, isn't it? It's like, what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose?
I don't know.
This guy has made an enemy of...
An enema?
It's easy for me to say. Of this little farming thing.
Yeah.
And he's made it his sort of mission to
crush
them. Yeah. And get as many seeds and saplings and shrubberies as he can.
And I want it on a week on Tuesday, not this Tuesday, a week on Tuesday. It makes no sense.
I think he took the sort of logic from Phantom Menace. Trade disputes and all that.
But that's the thing. So the trade dispute thing that makes sense. But I actually think it's much crappier reason than that. It's the Seven Samurai or the Magnificent Seven. It's a village.
Yes, but
because it's a baddie that does it. The baddie wants all the resources of the village.
Yes,
it's the same thing it's the same thing as what do you call him? Flick.
Yeah.
In the gang as well.
Yeah.
It's a village.
Yeah, it's a baddie against a village. It's not like a huge big conglomerate.
Exactly, that's my point.
Against the village.
That's my point. It seems overkill.
He's missed the old.
It seems that you're mixing up parochial politics with galactic politics.
Yeah,
like it was the planet of Naboo that was under under thing. It wasn't Naboo City.
No,
it was the whole planet.
Aye, and it was Dune because of the spice.
And also,
they wanted the spice.
Also, I'm going to assume that on that moon, there's quite a few villages that make wheat. Wouldn't they just do the skadoosh on that village and then say, Do you want to help us? Because if you don't help us, that's what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that's so.
Yeah. So
I don't know what Atticus, Ross, and the gang are up to here, but this is what they're doing. So anyway, so they're like, okay then. Well, I'm not going to go with you, says the sister of the rebels, but you can go to your certain death. I'll see you later in Valhalla, I assume, because we're painted like Vikings.
Yeah. All right then. Yeah.
And then we get to the denouement, the bit at the end of the movie, which is at the trade depot. So
the cliffhanger.
The cliff.
Not really. Not really.
There was no cliff. No. So they're on the plane. Oh, we don't mention this at all. All through this, Kai has the worst Northern Ireland accent ever.
Oh yeah. I see when you said that. This. I actually thought, wait a minute, Charlie Hunnam is Irish, is he not?
No, he's not. He's a Geordie.
He's Newcastle. Yeah. Because I thought, how can he have a crap Irish accent if he's Irish?
Because the bad guy's got a Northern Ireland accent, and it's a genuine Northern Ireland accent because he's from Northern Ireland. So I think he's from Northern Ireland.
Which bad guy? Well, the main dude.
Yeah, what's his name? Fee. This guy, Fee. He's an Irish actor from. Where's he from?
Irish actor.
Dungannon. There you go.
Show me a picture. I think who you mean.
This guy here. Hold on. Open a new tab. Hold on. I need to move my notes. This guy.
Do you recognize him?
He's a Fee. He's the guy at the end with a big bushy beard.
All right. Okay.
Wow. And he's got an Irish accent.
Get no memory of that at all. Right, okay.
Anyway, so they all go. So at the end, so they're all driving along, and he turns to goes, "I just got one more drop off to make. Then I'm going to be a good guy from now on."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay, then." And he goes, "What I need you to do is offload these 4 things. I don't have 5. I've only got 4. So just offload these 4 crates and just stand beside the 4 crates." And just that, they all pop up and become those scorpion things.
Oh yeah, those things. Yeah, that are crap.
Now the reason why the gunner guy didn't have one is because he didn't know he was going to be there. Because what he was doing was he was going from planet to planet to try and pick up all these the big bounties. Because he's a bounty hunter, this Kai guy, and this is where the crisscross applesauce double sauce thing comes out. So
just had to
you're showing off your t-shirt there.
Yeah.
So he gets Kora, who General Zod wants.
Yep.
He gets Nemesis, who apparently is wanted in 12 systems. He gets the Prince, who John Carter, who turns out to be a prince by going like, "Oh, by the way, guys, did I tell you I'm a prince?
I'm a prince, by the way."
And he gets the the other General Zod. And so that's the 4 of them. So of course the gunner is just left by himself because he's a nobody. He's not needed by anybody. And so they put them all in that thing, and so Atticus says, "Oh well, let's paralyze them."
Yeah, that's right. They'll end up in one of those, and then he gets the big gun out with a spike.
He gets the big spiky gun
attachment,
and he says, "You need to do it." So Kai says to Gunner, "You need to do it."
Oh,
why?
Yeah. Don't know.
Why give him the gun anyway? So he goes basically, "Screw you!" And apparently the gun is also used to unlock. That's a new feature for the gun.
Yep.
And
who would have known that? No
exactly.
One.
Not even Gunner.
No.
So anyway, so he unlocks it and then does the old boom thing to Kai, and that's it. Charlie Hunnam's out of the franchise.
And was anyone gutted?
No.
Write in and tell us.
I was not gutted by any of the deaths in this because I don't know who these people are. It's like there's no weight to any, and there's no interaction with them. They're not, the people's hopes and dreams, or I had a brother once, or any of that kind of stuff. Or
is Zack Snyder writing this stuff?
I think so. Yeah, he
him?
co-wrote it with somebody else.
George Lucas.
George Lucas. Yeah, it's poetry. It rhymes.
You can type this shit, George, but you can't.
Can't read.
Can't read it.
Story by Zack Snyder, and it was co-written by Kurt Johnstad and Shay Hatten. Shay Hatten worked on John Wick 3 and 4, Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves, and Rebel Moon.
Right.
And Kurt
really
Johnstad wrote for 300.
Not really known to be big dialogue heavy scripts.
Not really, no. No. Also, Kurt Johnstad worked on an Aquaman script as well.
Okay.
So there you go.
So
anyway, a big
anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, a big fight. I think they fail up. A big fight ensues, and there's a bit in it where the brother
there's a boss fight.
There's a boss fight basically, but there's also a bit where there's a gunner high up on a platform on the ship, and the rebel brother, he decides to run up this crane and does the old stabby thing and misses for no reason.
I would miss.
Oh, I know you, and I would miss as well. In fact, I'd be halfway up there, I'd be like,
you wouldn't make. I wouldn't make it.
I wouldn't make it. No, I wouldn't make it up there now. But he misses just so he can get another couple. This guy can get a couple of shots with his pistol in at him, and then he gets him with another big stick thing that he got from somewhere, and he stabs him more with the stick thing. And
from the big
why not just let him have it? Why not just let him have the first hit?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just didn't make any sense.
Reasons.
None of this made sense. Yeah. Anyway, so the ship for some reason falls out of the sky because it has to. Kora fights with the space Nazi.
Yep.
And he says, "I've always hated you," and words to that effect. And then he falls to his death,
or so we think.
And they then all recuper and then somehow get back on the ship and then fly off towards the planet, the moon at the start, the eponymous Rebel Moon. Is it called Rebel Moon? What's the moon called? At
this point, I had lost complete interest.
Weak
I have
moon.
no idea. I don't even remember bits of this at the end. I'd
Do you
lost
remember
that
them,
much interest.
riding off into the sunset?
I remember the bad guy not quite back to tanking it, but
oh no, that comes after this. That comes
that's
after
what I'm
this.
saying. Yeah, I remember that, but that was probably about it.
So they they go to the village, and as usual, they talk. There's a lot of walking and talking in this movie, and they ride on horseback at the end of this, and it's like, oh, this would be a great place to die. Oh, well,
yeah.
Looks like we're not going to do that. And then they ride off into the sunset, just as Jimmy the robot.
Jimmy
the robot, who apparently blushes as well.
Which is quite cute, actually.
It is quite cute, yeah. He appears out of the wheat field with his stag, which is the sort of bottom right hand corner of the image there. He's gone full native, whatever it is. I don't know what he's done.
I must have missed that, but I think I full on fell asleep at the end.
Yeah, and then it cuts to General Zod lying on what looks like obsidian, which must have broken his back or whatever. And so they pick him up and take him into the ship and put him in basically a full on back to bubble.
Yeah, it looks basically more machine than man.
Yeah, and they rip the back of his head off, and they sort of plug him into something, and it's basically this sort of like AI virtual reality thing. And so he has a convo with your man Frafi,
who's the real baddie.
Yeah. And they do it on an ice rink for some reason, and he keeps banging his staff.
Oof,
and every time
hello.
he bangs the staff, it kind of cracks the ice a wee bit more. And eventually, after he's finished, it kind of falls through. Noble falls through the ice.
So one of them had his head pulled off, and the other one's banging his staff.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Right.
It's that type of film, is it?
Aye. So anyway, so he says, bring back my daughter to me alive so I can crucify her in front of the Senate. And if you don't do that, I'll crucify you in front of the Senate. Either way, we're having a crucifixion.
Nice one.
So that sets up, obviously, the Scargiver, which is the second one. So then he goes back, and for some reason, oh no, is he going to make it? They decide that his heart's not beating, so they have to give him full power. So he does like kind of one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Those you ain't seen nothing yet.
Which
Bachman
means
Turner overdrive things.
So is that giving him superpowers?
No, it just gives him a wee bump, one of those defibrillator type.
Is that a wee extra
things.
boost? A wee extra
boost,
kind of,
wee
when
boostette.
when you're in a computer game and you've got like 3 stars.
Exactly. Yeah. And you get the 4th star.
Yeah, 3 hearts. Sorry, 3 hearts. And a wee couple of hearts in there just to boost your energy levels.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you saying about the farm guy? We found out why because I said to you after the first, mission or first part, what was his purpose after that?
Hold the gun. He had to kill Charlie Hunnam.
Nah,
that's his purpose.
I found him he had no dialogue, nothing to do.
Nothing.
And I thought maybe he's just there because of the kind of love interest or something. I never even really got an inkling of that, really.
There was a clip of him and Kora kissing in Scargiver.
But there's, I don't know. I don't get the point of that character at all. Yeah, it did start off well for me, but it went rapidly downhill.
Yeah,
the middle section was like just copy paste, just change the names in some slight bits, about 5 times, and then after that, I really started to lose interest, and I thought, all right, that's direct. I mean, they did direct cantina scene. A direct cantina scene in the movie. I'm like,
bad. Yeah.
What? But it was a gay bar. That was the difference.
Okay.
That was the difference.
Is that the difference?
Apparently.
Okay. There was the problem with doing a dark reboot of
it wasn't dark though.
No, I know, but the problem with doing a dark reboot of Star Wars or like a fictional interpretation of Star Wars is you decide to drop the comedy. That's your darkness of it. It's like, I don't know, man. Even Andor had bits of comedy in it. That was pretty dark.
If you're going to do a dark version of Star Wars, do a dark version of Star Wars. This wasn't it. No, I know he's bringing out an R version, but it's probably going to have a few boobs in it and some blood, extra blood, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? I want
boobs and blood.
Yeah, I mean, there's more to life than boobs and blood in movies.
It's true. Yeah.
No,
to be honest,
I want more than that, and I bet that's all we get. And you'll get your hated more slow mo.
Exactly, but I know it's his thing to have slow mo and all that kind of stuff. I also think that his stuff is visually unappealing as well. I don't agree with
that. I think when he does I think he does a lot of. I think he does superhero stuff really well, and then the slow mo works. I think in fight scenes,
hero stuff
and things like that. To do it all the time, it's a bit like J.J. Abrams with his bloody lens flare thing all the time. Yeah. He's obsessed with that and he thinks that's his thing. I don't know. That wasn't the worst part about the movie, the fact there's slow mo in it, because he does that in every movie. It just gradually got worse and worse and worse as the movie went on.
So how do you compare it to other Zack Snyder films?
Bad. I mean, I loved Watchmen. I loved 300. Those movies are, 8 out of 10 movies. Sucker Punch, rubbish. Batman versus Superman. Well, Man of Steel's great. Batman versus Superman, I did not like when I went to see it. Me and James went to see it when it came out. I didn't like it, and then I watched it again, and I'm like, I don't know why I didn't like this. I really enjoyed it. So for me, he's got more hits than not. But lately, Army of the Dead was okay.
I couldn't get into it. I'm looking at his filmography just now. I couldn't get into it. Like we talked about this before.
Yeah, I know you're not a fan anyway. That's why I thought you were maybe going into this in a negative way anyway.
No, I mean I give everything a chance. It's the same thing with the Army of the Dead. I got, I think, 40 minutes into it, and I'm like, I can't do this. This just isn't good. It just didn't. The thing about his, and I know him because I think James he's a big Zack Snyder fan.
Yes,
there's obviously an appeal out there, and it's not whatever it is. I'm not seeing, and I just don't get the appeal. But he is not my favorite director at all.
No, he's not my favorite either. But he was at one point, I would say, up there for me.
Was it the Elves of Dole? Is that the one that won you over?
He was doing a lot. I've not seen that. It's meant to be good.
Yeah.
His animated thing. It's meant to be good. But this one, 5 out of, I don't know, 5 or 6 out of 5.5 out of 10 for me.
I keep a diary on Letterboxd. I gave this 1 out of 5. I did not like it at all. I am harsh. Yeah, I know it was harsh. I just didn't. I didn't like.
You can't give it
really
1
anything about it.
Even though the first 30-40 minutes were.
That was the 1 star
Out of 10.
And by the way, that first 30 minutes is passable at best. It's not great cinema. It's fine compared to the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I find the dialogue is just non-existent. I mean, it is there. It's very much the. Did I ever tell you of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Like, just
don't go there. That's one of the best bloody bits.
No, I know that is.
It's not a good example.
It's all that kind of like, oh yeah, I used to be a soldier, and here we go, flashback, and then it's more just CGI.
It wasn't well written. It definitely wasn't well written. Definitely not.
No, it was not well written. It was poorly written.
Right. I think everybody gets the message.
Yes.
We didn't dig it, guys.
No, I didn't. No.
Sorry.
And it took us 53 minutes to say that.
I think we said it about 20 times in the first 5 minutes, but anyway. Oh, you certainly did.
Do you know what's better? The Room.
I was trying to be more pragmatic, but
The Room's a better movie.
No, it's not.
Spoons.
Although the special effects in the room when they're up on the roof,
it's really good.
Didn't even realize
that's all CGI. Yeah.
Anyway, that's another matter.
That looked more realistic than. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. If you want to get time reminders when we put something new up, then don't forget to hit the old subscribe button, notification bell, and YouTube will do its algo thing. And of course, if you like this, then smash the like button and share because we do appreciate it. But until next time, I don't think we're going to talk. We're talking about doing something on Thursday, but are we still doing that or
Thursday? What day is Thursday? Is that the 28th?
It's Thursday. Thursday's Thursday.
I can't do it actually.
Right. Well, it's not Thursday then. So the Sunday then, my birthday.
Sunday, yes.
So I'm working on my birthday.
Oh, so you are.
No, that's fine. That's okay. Lots to talk about.
That means I need to get you something.
That's fine. It's fine. All right. Thanks very much for watching us, everyone, and we will catch you in the next one.